We dropped to a crouch, 7 meters back, as Joseph had instructed. My camera hung forgotten around my neck. I couldn't look away long enough to lift it. Ruhandeza settled onto a patch of moss, tearing into a bamboo shoot with hands that could have crushed my skull. The sound of it snapping filled the air, mingling with the soft coos of the infant and the rustle of leaves as the juveniles played. Hans clicked his camera, the shutter a faint whisper, and Liz gripped Tom's arm, her chatter replaced by a hushed "oh my god." The mother gorilla glanced at us, her expression calm, almost bored, as she nursed her baby. I could smell them, musky, earthy, alive. Time slowed, the hour we were allowed stretching into something eternal. Then Ruhandeza stood, towering over us, and beat his chest, two thunderous thumps that echoed through the trees. My heart leapt into my throat, but Joseph's hand on my shoulder steadied me. "He's saying hello," he murmured, a smile tugging at his lips. I exhaled, grinning like an idiot. Too soon, Joseph tapped his watch. Our hour was up. We backed away slowly, the gorillas fading into the green as if they'd never been there. The trek back was a blur. Rain started falling, turning the trail into a river of mud. I slipped again, landing hard on my backside, and laughed as Priya pulled me up, my pants soaked through. The group was quieter now, each of us lost in what we'd seen. My legs ached, my boots squelched, but I didn't care. Back at the lodge, we peeled off wet gear and gathered around a table, sharing roasted plantains and a pot of goat stew. Joseph joined us, his eyes twinkling as he told us about his first trek as a young guide, how he'd frozen when a silverback charged, only to realize it was a bluff. "They teach you who's boss," he said, and we all laughed, the warmth of the food and the memory binding us together. That night, I sat on the lodge porch, the forest a dark silhouette against a sky pricked with stars. Mist drifted up from the valley, carrying the faint hoot of an owl. I thought about Ruhandeza, about the way he'd looked at me not as a threat, not as a friend, but as something fleeting, a visitor in his world. I thought about how these gorillas, so close to us in blood, 98 of our DNA, I'd read had carved out a life here in a forest older than human memory. I thought about the rangers and guides like Joseph, fighting to keep them safe, growing their numbers from a desperate 650 to over 1,000. It hit me then, sitting there with mud still caked on my boots. This wasn't just an adventure. It was a glimpse into something bigger, a thread connecting me to the wild, to the past, to something worth protecting. The next morning, I'd leave Bwindi, the jeep rattling me back to Entebbe and the world of concrete and screens. But that moment on the porch